got.
Durag Diaries, yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to Boardroom Talks, your Spurs therapy special, your panel show, joined by, as you can see, a star-studded panel to discuss Thomas Frank the Tank, Thomas the Frank Engine, choo-choo! Get all aboard the train.
We are not aboard the train.
Hey,
We are not.
all
no
aboard
train.
the train.
No, there ain't no train.
Confirmation.
No train.
Manager is a Spurs. Thomas Frank is now a Spurs manager. Ange Postecoglou, to some people's disdain, as you can see. He's out of the club, and some people aren't happy. But before we get into any of that good stuff, find out how everyone's feeling, make sure you smash the likes on this video. Make sure you're following every one of the panelists. Their channels is in the description, so it's not very hard to find. Make sure you show some love, subscribe to them. But I want to make it very clear to some of the panelists, because I've been seeing some people don't get happy about when they get, 4K'd. So I just want to make it very clear. No one here has the right to remain silent, yeah? You're not allowed to stay silent over these sides. And everything you do say can and will be used against you in the court of YouTube. So you will be clipped. So make sure you watch what you say. Marlon, I remember what you said. Luke, we're clipping everyone. So big up to the panel. I just want to start off with the first question. How's everyone feeling about Frank?
Yeah, man.
Good, man. Feeling good. Feeling good.
Feel like I time traveled 11 years into 2014.
Nah, I'm like, personally, I don't know how everyone else feels. Like, for me personally, he immediately solves a lot of issues that I saw last season. Like, our out of possession, I thought it was quite bad at times. Marginal gains, so like set pieces, throw-ins, little things, yeah, like that we didn't focus on specialists in. And then you've got the other stuff where, we lost a lot of games by 1 goal last season, yeah. So these marginal gains that will help us close those kind of defeats and losses, yeah, they're actually going to make quite a big difference. So I'm quite excited by him. Obviously, I think it'll be interesting to see how he develops, like, his style of play and puts his emphasis on the team. But I think you can look forward to almost all the players in the squad improving. I think they're going to be coached. And I think the difference between having Ange was he had a system that he wanted the players to work up to, whereas Frank is going to elevate the players with his system. And I think that's a subtle difference. And that's what we were like under Poch, like some of our parts. And I think we can get back to that. So no negatives for me. I think you look at it and say, is it going to scale? He hasn't done this or he hasn't done that. But, there's no real top managers with top CVs now who aren't either on their way out or trying to develop. So you got to gamble. All the top clubs are gambling to an extent on their managers. I'm really happy with it. I think it's a great appointment. I think he's going to do a good job.
No, I think you summed it up really well there. And some great opening thoughts. I think, look, we just have to bring it to the guy that's so distracted right now with showing everyone. He might as well call him his dad at this point. Big Daddy Ange fed him
Papa Postecoglou, if you will.
I think he actually might have fed him at this point. Yeah. Jacob, how do you feel about Thomas? You don't call him Frank the Tank. What's your name you got?
No, Trash Can Tommy, Trailer Park Tommy, Trailer Trash Tommy, Methadone Tommy, whatever one you want. Ozempic Frankie, that's another one I've been working on. Anorexia Frankie. They don't really roll off the tongue like Trash Can Tommy. So I like Trash Can Tommy. That's my official nickname for him. It's the number one in my internal poll. But no, in all seriousness, I feel like it is a gross step back into Tottenham of yesteryear, the thing that I want to not be. Because in 15 years, again, everyone's different, and I've supported Spurs likely not as long as some of the people who are local. That's fair. But for 15 years, all I've heard is war a fucking trophy. War a trophy, Jacob. Yeah, well, Tottenham did this good and Tottenham did, yeah, war a trophy. From rivals, from Spurs fans. That's all I heard. And now we finally get the trophy and everyone's like, yeah, but it was easy. Yeah, but it was this. Yeah, but it's all feeling based. It's not factually based. And so, again, like I told you guys before the show started, I like my socks like I like my energy. Matching. All right? Because I'm matching energy. Whether I think, like, I will preface everything that you're going to hear this evening. They're all going to forget this in the comments because, I went on one on Hissam's. They forget the little contextual things you say because they're like, well, look, he's emotionally reacting. Yeah, because I love this club. And when I love something, I'm an emotional beast. You try and take the emotion out of supporting a club. That's like taking the love out of lovemaking. It's impossible to do. And I just see it like we're now reverting back to type. We're going back to what we used to be, which is feelings and maybe he can do this. I think he can do that. I'm delving in facts. That's what I'm moving like now. Because all I heard, no one gives a fuck about your feelings, Jacob. It's always facts over feelings. But now everybody feeling good. Now their feelings are superseding fact. It's really weird how, the polls change. I don't know. The world is flipped upside down like a damn pancake getting cooked on the other side. And I'm fine with it. But don't get all booty hurt when I call him Ozempic Frankie. When I body shame him, I have yet to shame the nation of Denmark, but it's incoming. It's, a slow burn. But we'll get there when we get there. I'm just going to do all the things that people did to my trophy winning manager. The only manager that I've seen in my fandom lift a trophy with us. The only manager that I've seen in my fandom be successful with Tottenham. People talk about progression. 2 European finishes back to back in a progressive manner from going from this tier to that tier in European competition. That's a progression. It's just I'm delving in facts, not feelings anymore.
We okay. No, I understand it, and like you said there, because you're only manager to win your trophy, I think for some people, or many people, could understand why
everyone remembers their first. Come on.
Yeah, everyone remembers that first. It holds a special.
She's not a hoe, Mom. All right, she's not a hoe.
Let me bring it to Mr. King of the Analysis himself, Ash. Obviously, I know you would have been looking into Frank Brentford, and I remember we done the watch along against the Brentford on We Are Tottenham TV early this season. And we spoke about how adaptable Brentford were, the different types of setups they have, and are you looking forward to seeing Frank bring that to Tottenham? Having multiple different setups, being able to go into a game knowing that he has just not plan A, but plan A, B, plan B. He spoke about that in interviews heavily.
Yeah, he spoke about having 5 substitutes ready for plan A, and then for plan A, B, having another set of 5 substitutes ready, and then for plan B, have another set of substitutes ready for 5. If it's 1-0 down, if he's drawing, if he's winning, he has a plan for all scenarios, and he looks at each opponent slightly different and prepares for each match differently. However, there is the caveat to that, because he had 1 game a week. He had more time on the pitch to prepare that. So we don't know with 2 games a week if he's going to have enough time to work on that, because at Spurs, let's face it, us fans, we don't have a lot of patience. And as Jacob was saying, trophies, we're coming off the back of a trophy win. So if we don't get like the first 6 or 7 games, there's not good results, things could get really toxic really fast. And Thomas Frank has to make a massive step up with the environment at Brentford being so nice. At Brentford, his remit was to survive, essentially, and anything above that was going to be nice and rosy. So it'll be interesting to see how he makes the step up, how he deals with the different personalities. There's not too many divas at Tottenham, but it's going to be interesting how he does acclimatize to the different culture, because at Brentford, the culture, the environment very nice, very settled. Tottenham's a little bit more of a boiling pot, in my opinion. But coming back to the statistics and the tactical side of things, I do like he is flexible. Even when he does play a back four, he can go into a back three. He makes one of the fullbacks go high up and go on the outside. And then at times, if it is two centre backs and both fullbacks push up, one of the midfielders can drop in between the two centre backs, creating a halfback, similar to what Eric Dyer did at under Pochettino at Tottenham when we were doing so well. So that gives us more cover when we have possession of the ball, and it makes us less vulnerable, less open, especially down the flanks. And we do know that Thomas Frank likes to attack centrally, and I think he was the second highest team to score goals through the centre. So that means his wide players tend to attack the box, and they're less likely to hang out wide, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think that would suit the profile of our players like Brennan Johnson, rather than pushing them out wide, putting them in the box. That's going to make, get more out of him. I know Thomas wanted Brennan Johnson as well. He wanted to work with him, and players like Archie Gray too. Then you've also got, I know Son, we'll probably get into that a little bit later, but everyone didn't profile Son as an out wide 1v1 winger. And so that like Thomas Frank's going to come in, look at the players and the squad that he has, and he will adjust the team and the formation according to what he has, if that makes sense, rather than saying, this is who we are, this is how we're playing, it doesn't matter, get on with it. Do you know what I mean? So
and then adapt in a final, win a trophy. Yeah.
Well, you say adapt, but I'm sure box office will touch on it, but it's a bit of controversy. So was it Ange? Was it the coaches?
Yeah.
Was it the players?
We're not.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying.
That's the fun part, because it's like he doesn't adapt. This guy has one system and it's only that way, and then he adapts the last 3 games in Europe, and we win a trophy that I've never seen.
I mean, I don't know.
He didn't do it on his own volition, though. It's like, no, well, he did. Facts are.
Alex, I see you're gonna bite. You're not allowed to bite on this one. You're gonna hold your thought, because we want to stick to Frank, and I want you to come in here, Alex, and talk a bit about how you feel about Frank, not about the Ange adaptability side of things. I know how you feel. I know exactly how you feel about that one. But Frank,
and he's not our manager
I'm actually
anymore.
really interested. No, I'm really interested to know how you feel about Frank box office, because I know you wanted the top manager. Like me, you probably wanted someone of credibility, someone who'd come in who'd been more proven. But at the same time, I know you can appreciate someone who's an actual coach. You said Tottenham needs someone who's a coach first. So how do you feel about this Frank appointment?
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm okay at the moment. He's definitely a coach from what I've seen in videos and stuff, and it's just videos that I've seen, and it's clear to me that by what he mentions in his videos and stuff, he thinks about the whole aspect of being a coach. So, and you can see the evidence that he's done what he's done. So yeah, I mean, at the moment, it is very encouraging. I will say that definitely. I can be a little bit more optimistic, definitely. But I don't feel at the moment I can really judge him until I see him at Tottenham Hotspur, because that's the measuring stick to see whether it really will work at Tottenham Hotspur at the moment. Because what he does at Brentford it should be respected. But for me to actually see whether this guy is actually right for us, and I don't reckon he'll be here more than 2. I don't think he'll be here any longer than 2 years or something like that. I just don't see it happening really for me. But then again, that's just my opinion. But I do feel that if he's a success at Tottenham, you'll see players been upskilled, like some of our youngsters, hopefully, and that will be encouraging. And will be a little bit more balanced as well for me. So I'm okay at the moment. I'm okay with him at the moment. I can't do anything more. I can't say any more than that really for me. But one thing I will say that is very, very encouraging. He looks like a coach. Definitely is a coach. What I've seen. That's what I can say.
Yeah, no, definitely a coach. I think for me, one of the biggest things has been that I think you like Ash. I looked into quite a lot of his interviews. I've looked into some of the other stuff regarding how he plays his football, how he's developed the football since the championship, because they was an attacking style team. They used to play on the front foot, and then obviously coming into the Premier League, he started to do a more counter press, a more counter-attacking team. So let me just bring it to you, E. Because obviously I know.
Sorry, just before you go on, I just want to share something. So I've got a girl here. Don't ask who she is, but she's here quite a lot on these shows, right? And so when Mr. Box Office was talking, right, she was like, she was like, okay, let me go see what Mr. Box Office looks like. Because she was like, I always hear this motherfucker talking. Like she's like, let me go see Mr. Box Office, and she was like, no, Office, no way. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, the way he sounds, the way he talks. I thought he was an older, more aggressive, more Caucasian man. I said no.
I was waiting for the Caucasian bit.
That's exactly what I was waiting for, Ia.
I was waiting for the Caucasian.
So you're saying he sounds like a specific type of person in the UK?
Sorry.
That sounds a bit like an old school geezer.
It does. That's what she's saying. Like.
A bit like an old school geezer. I suppose we're all Tottenham fans, so we all have it in us somehow.
Mate,
speak for your damn selves,
mate.
Get me down to the stadium and you see it come out of me.
Trust me, mate. You know what I mean?
Speak for yourselves, bro. Speak for yourselves. None of that.
Elijah's not part of that. Elijah ain't part of that geezer.
Everyone's talking like this now.
But Elijah, let me bring it to you, because obviously you said quite clearly, if Ange had won the Europa League, you thought Ange deserved his time to stay. Now, at the same time, you was also of the thought that if he gone, you weren't that attached to him. You weren't emotionally attached to him in that way. So seeing Frank come in, I suppose not. What are your thoughts on Frank? Because I know you're not someone that pays too much attention to other teams outside Tottenham. You're going to not watch Brentford football and talk to us about that side of things. But what do you think of the appointment? And do you think that this is a step forward from Ange?
Is it a step forward? I genuinely don't know. I think that Frank is going to be vilified unless he wins a Prem or a Champs. He's going to be deemed a flop. He's going to be deemed not as successful as Ange. Going to be deemed that Ange shouldn't have been sacked to get him, because like everything else under the sun Ange has done at Spurs, isn't it? Like he's gotten top 5 and he's won a European competition. So unless he wins the Prem, like just getting the Champions League spot probably wouldn't be enough, because Ange's done that as well.
This is so dishonest. This is so dishonest. Forgot.
That's what I'm saying, but that's how it's gonna it's gonna be viewed that way. Ange's gotten Champions League football. He's gotten Euro. He's gotten a trophy, and he's finished in the top 5. So unless Frank wins a Prem or a Champs, he's gonna get vilified, and for the second he walks through the door, he's gonna be vilified by the fan base, whether it's deserved or not. I'm just saying what's gonna happen.
What side of the fan base though? Because I can't lie. I don't know. No, because only that. That's the point, though. It's only the people that wanted Ange to stay, and that's a minority within the fan base itself.
I could provide some clarity to that, Jords, that's not entirely true, because I am one who's definitely fine if you want to sack Ange for getting 17th. Just don't fucking step backwards 11 years. Let's not do this back to the future in a DeLorean type business and revert back to Tottenham of yesteryear. And that's exactly what we've done, because we've gone to a manager whose biggest accolade is, oh, well, look, it's comparable to Pochettino at Southampton.
But why is it necessarily
real proud? What are we propping Roy Hodgson for keeping Palace up when they got promoted and they've been a mid-table team? Are we doing that for Brighton? Are we doing that for Villa?
But what makes it a clear step backwards in your eyes? Because look, I think you keep saying go back.
I go to his achievements page and it looks like it's loading.
Let's go back to 2014. In 2014, we hired Mauricio Pochettino. At that time, Mauricio Pochettino overachieved with a Southampton side that had just got into the Premier League. They finished 8th. They had some really good players. He'd shown his quality with regards to his coaching by getting loads of young players into that English setup, and then moved to Tottenham and instantly took our team a step forward. Now, many people prior to his move at Tottenham said that he was unproven, never playing at this level, because the only before that he'd managed at Espanyol and then Southampton. So very similar to Frank in some sense, that Frank obviously worked his way through the Championship into the Premier League. So he's had to adapt his style of football.
Yeah, he did take his time to get up. You're right.
It took only 2 seasons, actually. He finished third in his first season.
That's all it took Ange to get European
was
glory,
unfortunate to lose in the playoffs, and then in his second season went to the playoffs again and then went through. So I don't think it's fair to say that he had.
Yeah, you know, you give me 2 swings at the apple, I might get it. You're right.
But the point is, I want you to expand a bit more on why you think this is a step back. What is actually a step back with regards to going from Frank to Ange?
I feel as though it is a step back. This is my feelings, okay? I'll make sure to preface that. This isn't factual. This is Jacob. But when I look at factual components of what we're doing, I say, okay, what is the positives here? And I really do try to look at the positives. And it's like, he didn't let the boat sink, but it's still taking on water. It's like, okay, how is that a progression from a European winning side? I don't see it as such. I see it as us like we were when we got rid of Sherwood and then we got Poch in 2014. It's like you're gambling, which then I was okay with it because I mean, I hadn't been supporting the club as long as I had then as I am now, but I was also seeing it as like, okay, this is a time for us to get a guy in who can build us up. All the things that everyone is saying is the stuff that I started believing with Poch back in the day. And then I'm hearing it now. It's like, am I in 11 years in the past right now? Because all the things that we're propping up, all I got to say to it is war a fucking trophy. Because that's all I heard when Pochettino was being unsuccessful at this club, but making us relevant, but without glory. And to me, that's fine up until a certain extent, right? Like if I said my goal's to drop to 210 pounds and I'm sitting at 250 and I got to 235 and I just coasted there and then I get back up to 250, it's like, where's my progression to meet my goal? What is our goal for Tottenham? Mine is to do exactly what we did last year, lift honors, the best honors possible. And to me, the Premier League was always going to be very far away for us to do anything. And I don't think even in my most delusional state, don't believe we're going to win a league. But we did win, in my opinion, the 3rd highest trophy possible for an English Premier League club to win. And again, in 143 years, this club has won it now 3 times. But 142 years, it was twice. So to me, it's like Ange reached the pinnacle, the height of what this club has reached in its entire history, by hook or by crook, whether we liked it or not. And it was painful, yeah. But again, I just wanted to preface with what you were saying. It's like, because you say the people who wanted Ange in, I feel as though he deserved the opportunity to manage in that Super Cup. Now, the amount of games in the Premier League that people are willing to give is relative and it varies, and I think it's pointless to talk about because he's not our manager, and that's the bottom line. But for me, you got to go and improve. Give me someone whose CV is at least a discussion against Ange's CV. This is no discussion. Go to Transfer Market, click Thomas Frank, click achievements, and I swear to God, you think your internet went down because there ain't nothing there.
I don't
you
know
go to Ange's, you got to scroll. You got to scroll and scroll. You're lucky ain't 2 pages, 3 pages like a damn Google search.
The thing is like, you want to do achievement-based logic here, but when Ange was coming in, we wasn't doing that because his accolades in
because he raised
the league. No,
he raised us.
I don't think Ange raised the standards
in Australia.
Well, I do, and it's all feelings.
Listen, let me ask you this: if Brendan Rodgers came in now, you can say Brendan Rodgers is as good a manager as Ange. You could say that.
I wouldn't say that.
I would say that. I would say
technically he's better because you want to.
I would say what I've seen him do with Leicester, what I've seen him do with Swansea, what I've seen him do a little bit with Liverpool, what I've seen him do with Celtic. I could easily say Rodgers is a similar level to Ange. Some people might say better, some people might say a little bit worse. What we're looking at here, Jacob, is Ange did very, very well for us to win the trophy. But let's go back to say, look at a Juande Ramos, for example, right? Juande Ramos won us a trophy, yeah? Moving forward, he wasn't dealt the best hand with the players in the squad, but he wasn't the right person to take us forward. Moving forward next season, we're being tasked with the Premier League, yeah, the Champions League, and the 2 domestic cups. Okay. Now, Ange, in his 2 seasons, did not manage to make us finish top 5 or top 6 and win a cup at the same time. He did it separately, right? So now the club moving forward has got to make a decision. They've got to say, we're not in the Europa League next season. Yeah, we don't have this competition next season. We've got the Champions League and we've got the Premier League. Now, based on the last 2 years, do you believe that he is the right person to take us forward in the league? And I'm sorry, the evidence wasn't there. Like, and we can talk about setting the club back and this and that. This is a multi-million-pound, billion-pound organization. We don't do business based on, hey, you know what? Let's see if he turns it around. We're not spending hundreds of million pounds.
That's what we're doing with Frank, though.
No, but what I'm saying is we can't speculate that. And what happened this season, Jacob, and you've got to agree with this, is the way what happened in the league means Ange had no leeway next season. He had absolutely no wiggle room. The first sign that things were going bad, the fans would be at his neck because of the level of what. So I'm saying,
I agree.
There's just so much risk around giving Ange another season, because if he lost that game, nobody would say he should be here next season. And
Correct.
if your entire
it's the difference between winners and losers.
If your entire decision to keep him was based off one game, a coin toss, you almost
our highest honor, not a coin toss. Highest honor that we've ever reached.
The analogy is you meet a lady, right, and you have the best night with that lady, yeah?
I see where Alex is at now.
All right? And then you think, oh, you know what? I'm really there. You know what I mean? Yeah? But then you get back to reality and you're saying, no, you're not. You know what I mean? You're still not that guy. You know what I mean? You're just not that guy. You know what I mean? So
I would spend money for an hour dating sesh video.
Exactly. It's just like, I don't even know where we're going with this.
I wouldn't even compare it to that, bro. I compare it to being in like a toxic relationship. If you're in an abusive relationship, but then out of nowhere she decides to give you the best day of your entire life, does that mean you stay in the relationship with the person?
Exactly.
Like,
That's the
you know what I'm saying? Like, we went through
but the trophy's not one day. The parade's not one day. It's forever. It's forever.
Yes, it will always be the best day of your life.
Have a baby by me, baby, be a millionaire.
It doesn't. Just that memory of being the best day of your life, it will always be the best day of your life as well. It doesn't take away from that. But it doesn't, just because it will be the best day of your life doesn't mean that it justifies you staying in a relationship that's not working out.
That's what Spurs fans.
But I'll also say this. In a grown-up relationship, at the first sign of any friction, you don't just say, "Yeah, scrap this." You say, "Hang on. How do we improve? How do we get better? Let's learn from the past," which is something I think could have possibly happened. We will never know now.
Say this in literally the same time.
Ange
This is where guys go wrong. This is where guys go wrong.
No. It's not about giving her a chance.
Obviously, she's changing. You think she's changing.
No. Y'all getting it twisted.
Women stay with domestic abusers because
exactly.
the day after,
yeah, red flags.
It's Stockholm syndrome, fam. I'm telling you.
Y'all are saying a European trophy is for one day. I do not buy that at all. A European trophy is not one day.
No more makeup. I'm getting a restraining order. You're leaving the house. Do you see what I'm doing?
Well, that's you're a harsh lover, man. Hey, the way I see it is
about that sort of thing, please. Let's leave that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I just see it. The trophy's not one day. To refer to the analogy given from Elijah, a European Cup for me is not one day. That's 365 days. That's a whole solid year of the best love you've ever had in your life. Because no one can make me not a champion until someone else wins that.
Actually, it's one day.
It's factually forever, technically. No, because you can always Google today, tomorrow, the next day who won the motherfucking trophy, and it's going to say Tottenham Hotspur.
The memory will last forever. You only win the cup on that one day.
That's the thing, and the one thing we need.
Bro, it's not one day.
No, but you're right.
It's not a day out at Six Flags. What the fuck are we doing?
You're right in the sense that yes, it's gonna be remembered. He's done that achievement. That achievement, nobody can take the achievement away from him or the team. But that doesn't deny, for one, a lot of the players in that team were not good enough. They still need to go. Even if they scored in the final, doesn't matter. You can still go. You can still be up for sale. And we've seen many times clubs of a certain standard and level. We see our rivals, Chelsea. Yeah, they come in with Roman, and what were they doing? They were sacking managers that are winning FA Cups and not winning the league. If we want to compete, Jacob, you need to accept that we need to have a standard like that level. And although it is very ruthless, sometimes it's
ruthless.
Sometimes it's not right. Sometimes the manager don't deserve to be sacked. I remember AVB didn't deserve to be sacked. I remember when he got sacked, I was fuming. I was sat there going, how? He was nowhere near as bad as that.
Should Birkinshaw have been sacked? Our second most successful manager in the history. Should he have been sacked for getting his league?
No, but the thing is, though, wait, hold on, wait. 1 second. One thing I will say is, Ange did admit that he couldn't handle more than one competition. He did admit that. With
this squad, correct. Because the club continually fails managers. So when you say we're supposed to be acting like a Chelsea or we're supposed to be acting like this or that, that is just infactual because you can't have one foot in the pool and the other foot out here shitting on yourself. That's just not how it works. You either get in or you get out. And we're doing this half and half.
Wait. I don't understand that analogy. That made absolutely no sense. Me and Jay looked and I saw Jay look. He looked at I was like, wait. What the fuck does that mean?
I meant pissing on your foot. I meant you can't have one foot in the pool while the other one's outside pissing on your foot. But I said shitting on accident. Different bodily function.
That was a sackable offence. What he said that he couldn't have. He absolutely dismissed it.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion, Alex. I hear Thomas Frank, and my opinion is this is annoying. I can't listen to him more than 15 seconds. All these dug up clips. Hey, look, I'm moving fucking magnets on a board. Get your ass around. My kids do that on the fridge. My kids move magnets on the fridge, and I'm supposed to look at this Tactico.
You know what it is,
Jose Mourinho I'm raising over here.
You know what this is, bro? Thomas Frank is the stepdad when your mom and your dad get divorced, fam. That's what it is, bro. That's what Thomas Frank is, bro. Thomas Frank is the stepdad when your parents get divorced. Like, you're just looking at this guy like, how dare he replace my dad?
I have a stepdad. I love him. I have a stepdad, though. I have a great relationship.
Your initial relationship was like, Jacob. Let's see whether or not reality is stranger than fiction, yeah?
Wait, what was the question?
Wait, no. Jacob, we got the DB 1981. He says, "Wild take and sorry for this, but you had the best night of your life, but she gave you gonorrhea. You going back or you moving?"
I'm gonna say to correct your analogy, DB. She didn't give me gonorrhea. She gave me herpes because herpes is forever. Okay. And at that point, I'm already in the pool of herpy people, so may as well stick with the one who's already got it anyway, so you don't infect others.
And so the first thing he does when he gets herpes is decide to stay with the person.
I'm sorry, it was a sackable offence when he said he's dismissing it in January.
That's your opinion. Correct. You're allowed to feel that way.
I want you to
that is your opinion. That's not a fact, Alex.
I
want you to expand on that.
Because the thing is, though, he dismissed the league, even though I don't think mathematically we were safe. Right? Okay. We couldn't even get past 40 points, which is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting for a team, right? And for me, I don't care if you got injuries, you adapt, and he couldn't adapt.
He did, and he won a trophy.
James Ollie, when he put that said what he said on ESPN, he was spot on. He was absolutely spot on. Yeah, the players.
I don't pay attention to ESPN. What they say.
The players told him what to do, and I knew it was because he didn't adapt. He didn't adapt in all the matches that he could have adapted in, and we've not ended up with 38 points, 22 losses. Right? No manager, and he couldn't explain it. He kept on diverting his attention. He kept on diverting his attention to other things, and I was like, no, mate, that's not good enough. You know what I mean?
No, that's your opinion. You're allowed to feel that way. I'm not saying you're wrong.
No, it's not. No, it's not an opinion. It's fact, bro.
That is. You just said all opinions. That's not fact. No. Bro, get Webster's dictionary. Y'all country's the one that invented the motherfucking language, and I'm having to teach y'all.
No, you're not doing this, Jacob. You're not doing this in the main event, bro. You're not doing this in the main event, bro.
Bro, your nation invented the language that we're speaking, and I'm correcting you on what a fact and an opinion is.
It's fact. That this guy.
I feel like he should have been sacked. That's not fact.
If Mr. Box Office says so, I can't lie.
Hey,
Now who's getting under the thumb of an abusive
If you don't
relationship,
know,
Jords?
you should get to know.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly what a 1950s housewife says in America. Well, my husband said so. He said, the sun's gonna rise on the west and set on the east. It's like, all right.
Well,
No,
this
but
is
you
a
know
top
what?
team,
Yeah.
Jacob. Cole Palmer, when he won the Europa Conference League, he said, someone said to him, it's a good season for Chelsea. You got top 4 and a trophy, isn't it? European trophy. He says, nah. Why? No, we should do better. We should do better. Top team, bruv. Levels, bro. Levels.
Yeah.
Us
Again,
just sitting there
aspirations
saying,
and
we've got a
standards aren't the
trophy,
same
and
thing.
if you've got a
You could say
trophy,
you want to beat Chelsea
this is
City and all these big clubs, but when we don't do that historically, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, this is why we get bantered every single time. You know what I mean?
No,
Yeah?
it's not. We're getting bantered now because everyone's celebrating Frank. That's why we're getting bantered.
Celebrating Frank. No, we're not celebrating Frank. At least we've got a coach, bro. You know what I mean? It's
We had a coach and he won us a trophy, the highest honor we've ever won.
Bro.
So how about that?
No, bro.
To say he's not a coach when he literally has coaching badges is so disingenuous.
No,
you're
but
lying,
it's
and it's not
No,
factual.
no,
It's
but
not
you're not-
factual.
Jake,
No, tell me facts. Don't tell me your feelings. You feel like he's not a coach. The fact is, he's a motherfucking coach.
I'm glad you mentioned this.
No,
because we are
facts.
talking about
Let's check
coaches.
points.
You have to be
Facts.
facts. No, there is a fact.
Facts. I feel like the weather's hot. Facts.
The only fact
Facts.
is
My
George
drink
showing
tastes
you
good.
man are
Home
bro.
wins, bro.
Facts. This drink tastes good. Facts. There's
Hey, George,
liquid in there.
control your screen, bro. What's going
There's
on?
very few facts actually being shared right now.
There's very
Exactly.
there's very-
There's loud
We
voices.
lost-
saying, yeah.
Jacob, we lost 22 games this season. The
Fact.
manager can say, thank you. The manager can say whatever he wants. I remember the manager saying that league performance is a better indication of where the team is going than cup. That is what the manager said. Yeah. When last season,
I also told my
when we
ex-girlfriend I
got
loved
knocked
her.
out- No, last
Oh.
season when we got knocked out of the cup early,
Doesn't
the manager was saying
mean anything today.
he knew that if you win games consistently in the league, you put yourself in a position to win trophies. That's what he
He
said.
also said. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
big
No, I'm
up
just saying,
to
those
DB
are his
1981.
words. And
Don't lie.
the thing with Ange is, he's a world-class orator. He is a leader of men.
So you like what that mouth do is what you're saying.
No, yo. Hold on for a second.
Yo,
I just want to.
I heard orator.
Yeah, forget that pause.
Yo.
Yeah, forget that pause. Big up to DB 1981 for the super chat. Big up yourself, DB. We appreciate the support every single
Big
time.
up,
Big
DB.
up the panel. What a great stream. I ain't even a Spurs fan, but this deserves a super chat. Quality panel and
Hey, that's
content.
love. Come on.
They're loving the stuff. Big up to
Big up
DB
to
1981. He's a member as well. So if you want to become a member like him, tap the pinned comment, become a delinquent. But
Hey, yo, that guy in the chat,
moving
bro,
on from
is
that
top dick,
pause
man.
and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
I did
Well,
want to get into. I did
okay.
want to get in some of the football side of things because you mentioned Ange as a coach, and I'm glad you said that because, I mean, I beg to differ. We don't really know whether Ange is a coach. He hasn't really showed
are he
that
is, though.
side of his game. That
That's
he
your
hasn't really
feelings.
showed that. It is. But he hasn't really showed that side of his game at Tottenham. There was a lot of the times when we expected to see adaptations. We saw adaptations, and the adaptations weren't good enough. So if you're adapting and it's not working, clearly you're not good at your job, not qualified. So I don't know where he got his coaching badges. Maybe they was in Mogadishu, but it definitely weren't.
No, but George.
Let me ask where that
wait,
Danish
Jacob,
furniture
Jacob.
man Thomas
Wait, hold
the
on.
trash
He
can.
did adapt. He did adapt. He adapted in the league, but he still lost when he adapted.
That's the point. It wasn't good enough. That's what I said. The
He also
adaptations
won
weren't
when he
good enough.
adapted too. Let's not forget if we're going to talk about the contextual evidence, he adapted and he won against games too.
You're going to talk about the adaptations that he done in March and April. He started to. You do know he started to adapt to the back end of December in the first game against Nottingham Forest. In
Adapt to a 2-0 Frank. Adapt to a 3-2 Frank. Adapt to a 3-1 Frank. Adapt to the 2-2 Frank.
The adaptations weren't good enough. Just because
That's
we
2
won
years.
some of these games doesn't mean that they were good adaptations, and that's the thing that
Frank
we need
adapted
to
so
realize.
good to Ange though, right? Ange, our worst ever manager and our
that's
worst ever
actually-
season, and he can't even beat him.
And
I'm not
okay,
saying again. I'm up here defending
This is
Ainge
why-
because Thomas is
fine.
worse.
This is why the standards.
That's
ain't
fine.
been
But
raised,
why
man.
I actually wanted to get on to and the segment I wanted to move on to was who plays the better style of football? What style of football is going to be more suited to Spurs? Because obviously we're talking
The
about
one
who
that
is the
wins
better
trophies,
coach.
that's the better one.
Well, not necessarily, because the style of football.
Oh, factually it is. What's the aim of the game?
Not really, because it depends. The aim of the game is to win trophies, and Jacob, we can do this argument because I've been on that side, but being on that side is not a great side all the time, because you can do that, but there's only so long you can do that. At the end of the day, the aim of football is to win the Premier League. We're there to win.
But the better style isn't the one that wins trophies.
Trophies are nice, they're nice, but we want.
But if you're saying that, and you're also saying in the same breath the opposite, which one am I supposed to believe?
The ultimate goal is to win the Premier League. That is the ultimate aim. We play a league season for a reason. 38 games in that.
When we do that,
we have to measure the success of a manager across those 38 games that he's played in that season. So when we're talking about style of football, it's very much important, because you can play the style of football that wins you trophies. We've seen many trophies and many managers that win trophies through just playing a pragmatic style of football, because you're suggesting that Ange's style of play wins trophies, which it doesn't, because his style of play didn't.
It does factually. It does factually. It does. There's a shirt behind me that has a trophy on it that we won. That he factually managed us to win.
Because that wasn't his style of play. Ange won that trophy, but he didn't play his style of play, and he will tell you that himself. Ange's style of play is not that. So when we're talking about style of play, we're talking about what they're known for, how they play. Ange's style of football didn't win him that. Now, Frank's style, which is an adaptive style that plays pragmatically but also on the front foot, that's a style that can win you trophies, potentially. So when you say which is the style that will win you trophies, both can. But I want to bring it to the panel. I'm going to go to Alex first. I want you to talk a bit about the differences in style of play and what impresses you between either or and what you'd like to see in our Spurs team next season.
I just think it's just a little bit of balance, I think, really, because I think the problem is that what I saw previously, I think it just wasn't. It's either too attacking or too defensive for me. And I was seeing the same things as well, which was annoying me. And this is what I saw when I was at games, and that's why I just stopped going after Man United. It just wasn't. I just lost interest completely. And the thing, I think, it's not just about the style. I think it's just about the upskilling of players as well. That's the thing. I think that's where I got really frustrated, very, very frustrated, being there watching players that, for me, are not getting any better, weren't getting any better the last 2 years. You know what I mean? So this is where I was very, very despondent in that sense. So when I see Johnson on the wing and he can't do what he's doing, but then I see him scoring goals, I'm saying, well, why can we just put him in a position where you can use him better? You know, when I see, the way that the fullbacks play and they're playing inverted, it just don't work for me, and Adoji is just completely useless in terms of final pass and stuff, or you saw what the PSG winger did, the fullback did when he inverted and they played that attacking style.
Yeah, Nuno.
I forgot his name now. The fullback.
Nuno Mendes.
Mendes.
And then there's somebody else as well.
Hakimi.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, you see what he's doing. I mean, that's coaching. That's coaching. You know what I mean? Not just
winning trophies. You're right.
Yeah, drilling people. Well, no, Jacob, that doesn't make sense whatsoever. But you know what I mean?
Drilling people's crazy.
But I just think that's what I just think we just need that. Just that adaptation. You see what I'm saying? I think there will be some tough. I think there will be some moments where we might be, pragmatic, and we have to do that. But I think it'll be a bit of a balance. That's what I want to see. You know what I mean? And a little bit more different play. You know what I mean? Not scoring the same goal.
Can I just add one thing to that? Because I agree with a lot of elements of what Mr. Box Office said. I'm saying I've seen players like Bentancur, and like when you look at our first team, I think Ange is capable, when our first team was available, to play good quality games and beat teams and things like that. But as soon as 1, 2, 3 players were missing, the quality of the overall performance of the team went down so dramatically. It's like you're basically telling the team that all these players have to be fit. The style of play, the intensity of the football, the intensity of the press, the high line, it wasn't sustainable for us to play 60 games a season playing like that. And now he's understanding that as the season goes on and he adapts and changes. But the thing is that he's not a tactical in that context. Even when we play low block sometimes, the pacing and things like that, it's not quite there because that's not his natural game. That's not what we brought Ange in to do.
And the attacking wise, it wasn't good either, wasn't it? When we were defensive, it wasn't very good.
My thing is, if you look at a Frank, one thing you have to admit, Jacob, is like you got to say, right, he used to have Ben Rama, then he had Watkins, then he had Tony, then he had Visa, then he had Mbuemo. Every single one of those forwards was platformed perfectly. He got the absolute most out of every single one of those attackers, even though they were different styles of attacker, different types of play. How do you lose Tony and then his backups are bagging 20 each?
They played alongside each other, by the way. Tony, Visa, and Mbuemo when they were all together.
What I'm saying is the goals were channeled in towards Tony in the main. And once he went, they were redistributed equally. Without Damsgaard never played, brings him. If he can do that with Damsgaard and he can do that with Eriksson, aren't you excited to see what he can do with Maddison?
No.
Do you see what I mean? Because Maddison's a superior player to 30-something-year-old Eriksson and Damsgaard. Maddison's better than Damsgaard. So if he had Damsgaard looking as like one of the best playmakers in the league, he's obviously going to be able to do something with Maddison a lot. And he's arguably going to be the best positional tactical coach that Maddison will have worked on one-to-one in a long time in his career. Maybe ever. Right? So I'm saying to you, when I'm looking at these players, our players are way better than Brentford's players. They're way better.
I don't agree with that.
Bro, they're so much better. Bro, like...
You just mentioned 3 players that would all start all at the same time for us. Tony and Mbuemo and Visa.
He didn't play for them last season.
But we're using them as a reference point, are we not? So I'm referring to them.
Style of football. Just the style of football, Jacob. You can't do that one. It's just a style of football reference.
Do what? What did I do?
No, because Tony didn't play for them last season.
Tony is not a player that plays for Brentford at this
But he
time.
played for him the season before that. So and he also played the season before that.
I'll tell you how good of a coach he was. And I don't even want to do the glazing thing because I didn't want Thomas either. I never said that I wanted him. But he brought in Kevin Schade and you didn't really see him. You don't even know who Kevin Schade is, Jacob, do you? You don't even know
I like Kevin Schade. I know him from FIFA mostly.
Okay, so your
progression on FIFA is pretty decent. I'm not asthmatic. I'm not a scout, man. I'm casual.
I didn't know who Kevin Schade was prior to coming to the league. But when I saw him going into that Brentford team, he didn't look far off that Premier League level where you're seeing Mbuemo and Visa. He's just fitting into that front three because he's getting into the right positions and scoring goals. Let's take off your Ange hat for a second. Can you see?
Bro, I don't wear an Ange hat. He's not my manager anymore. He's just my 4th most successful manager in my club's history. He's also achieved the highest honors that we have as a franchise. But
I think you might have more than an Ange hat. I can't lie. It might be a different type of hat, but that's another.
Why do you think I got these photos covering up half my room?
I have an Ange hood or something. Back to it. I want to say, do you see any?
Hood is crazy.
Any positives?
Yeah, bro. Is it a color thing?
Movies are like Kanye, fam. Oh my God.
Yeah, bro. Kanye academics was this.
Do you see any positives in what he can bring to Tottenham and the team, whether it's in player improvement, like say coaching side of things?
I love a good dog. I love a good dog when they're obedient and you say sit and they say yes, sir. And then you say, here's some slop. And they're like, yes, sir. And then you're like, well, tomorrow's slop's going to be worse than this slop. And they say, yes, sir, I'm fine with that. So yeah, there's positives. We've got the fucking Gucci belt of yes men to come into our club. That's fantastic. Levy loves it. He's going to sit there and take whatever pig slop we serve him up, whatever wartime cuisine we decide to cook for him, he's going to eat it up. And he's going to say, thank you very much. He's grateful.
Sorry, didn't we criticize
Ain't nothing
Ange
like
for doing
a
the same
grateful
shit,
woman
though?
as well.
Yeah, go on.
We criticized Ange for doing the same shit though, for being a yes man to Levy.
We did.
So
Yeah.
So, what, the
So
match
let's
ain't
keep that
matter.
same fucking energy. That's my point. You're
So
Thank you,
Tottenham's
Elijah. You
standards haven't
fucking
raised.
found
you're saying
the
we just got
moral
the
of my
Gucci bottom.
point.
We
So
just got
Tottenham
the
standards
Gucci
haven't
bottom
raised
yesterday.
then.
Jacob, you're
That's
better
the
than this,
point.
man.
Tottenham standards
Jacob, you're
hasn't
better than this.
raised.
You're better than
This
this.
trophy hasn't
I don't
raised
think
our
I
standards
am.
as a club.
You are.
I don't think that I
You
am.
don't have to be like
You-
them, man. You don't have to be like Ange
people-
out. You ain't got to be like Ange out, man. You can see from where their mistakes were, and you can learn from it and say, "Look,
How about this?
And again, I said I'm
don't
fine
wanna
if you
be
do.
nothing
If
like
you
that.
want
How
to sack
about-
Ange,
Let me
my
take a
overall
step back.
point is I'm fine. 17th, sure, I can get on board. I don't necessarily agree with the other contextual evidence that all of last year deserved to be sacked. But if we're just singling in and we're just removing all the good shit and focusing on the shit bit, I will say yes. 17th is a shit bit, yes. And if you want to sack him for that shit bit, okay. However, don't downgrade. Don't trade in your 2010 Subaru for a 1990 Honda.
Based on
That's my
what?
point.
I'm sorry. Based on what? I can't do this.
Based on what?
Get
Factual
out of here.
evidence, not feelings. Factual evidence is what it's based on. No one's feelings. Not my feelings, not your feelings.
because
It's based
they
on
won
what
out
I
of the
can
club, don't mean they're gonna
factually
come to
say,
Jacob,
look
hold
at
on.
this tangible evidence. This is what is saying yes or no.
Jacob, can I ask you this question?
And you mentioned Brendan Rodgers, and I looked up his accolades just to make sure I had his whole career in front of me. And it's, again, not as decorated as Ange Postecoglou. So we can
Jacob,
move
let
on
me
from
ask
that
you-
one as well.
Jacob, let me
Those
ask
winning
you this
anime
question.
trophies.
Let me ask you, Jacob, let me ask you this
You can
question.
degrade whatever league you want, Elijah, but shit, ain't none of us good enough to play there either. So
What do you think Ange was
I
capable
might
of
be.
achieving next season?
maybe
In
you
your
first,
opinion,
not me though.
I know obviously we'll never know now. What do you think he was capable of achieving based off what you saw last season? What do you think he was capable of doing?
Winning silverware.
Yeah, so you think we could have won the FA Cup? We could have won the League Cup, something like that?
With Ainge?
Yeah.
I think whatever he sets his mind to, we can do. Yeah.
Oh, what is this?
Okay,
Ask
so
the question, bro.
no, so obviously, so my thing is
That is an answer. I said yes, Elijah.
That's
What
what
you
he
want me
sets his
to?
mind to.
Do I need to
No,
repeat the
it's
question
mind
back in the
No,
form
guys,
of an answer in order for it to be
Hold on,
answered?
no,
What are
no,
we doing?
What does
So
set his
guys,
mind to
his
mean?
opinion
What does that
fine.
mean?
I just
He
wanna
set his
know-
mind to Europa and he won it. He set his mind to winning a trophy in his second season and he did.
Okay.
When the fuck has
Okay.
anyone else done that?
Okay.
He must have
Okay,
set his
so-
mind to. Okay,
Wait,
he
so
did
as
it.
this guy says, because this is what I just want to clarify, Jacob. So what you're saying
Yeah,
is,
big
for
up,
us,
Milner.
for us as a club, Thomas needs to get more than 26 points in his first 10 games and finish the season higher than fifth.
You see,
in
this,
his
isn't this
first
what I
season.
said earlier,
And then
Jords?
second season,
All
not
Frank can
win
do
trophies.
is win the
That's
Prem or the
impressive.
Champs. That's the only things he can do to not be deemed as a villain for the club. All he can do is win a Prem or a Champs. That's
If
it.
if you're on Jacob's
That's not
it.
true either.
yeah,
That's
if
it.
you're
Not for
all
me
he
anyway.
can do.
No,
Because
Elijah,
everything
hold on.
everything else that's
No,
happened,
wait. Let me
they're
ask
gonna
this question.
just say Ange
Elijah,
did it already.
wait, hold on.
That's what I'm saying.
Question to the
Can't
panel. Question to the panel. If Frank wins the Super Cup, is he on the same level, or does he get the same credit as
I'll
Ange?
get his I'll get his fucking face tattooed on my
He
arm.
wins the Super Cup. He's got the
He
bigger
wins his-
trophy than Ange. He's already shitting on everything.
that
Ange has done.
question. I like that
He-
question,
in fact,
Ash.
he went to Ange's house and posted shit.
Yeah,
through his
I
door.
like
What do you
that
mean?
question, Ash.
Most
Good one, Ash.
definitely.
No, I'm not saying it's gonna happen though. Like, we were getting gas, but I'm
No,
not
no,
saying
I like that question.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
hypothetical,
If he
fake
beats
realities,
PSG,
delusional
if he beats
mindset. I love it. It's
PSG,
fun. It's like fun theater of mind, if you will, to be delusional and not based in reality. I like it.
Yeah.
Give the actual fucking bullshit.
Answer this quick though. Answer this quick. Who's more of a legend for you, Kane or Postecoglou? Go.
Postecoglou.
Ainge Postecoglou.
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 Hey,
Yeah.
Even
Hey.
Alex said
I'm not gonna lie.
Postecoglou. We winning today.
I'm not gonna lie, Ash.
hey, George, what you saying? Kane or
Bun
Postecoglou?
Kane, bro. Bun Kane. He's a pussy, bro,
Yeah,
man.
that's what I'm
See,
saying.
Sonny, he stayed for the grind. This is what happens when you don't stay for the grind. He's out there weeping, holding that fucking shield, that glorified
Straight up, facts.
Bro's got a bratwurst plate as a trophy,
Manager.
and you think he's a legend in my
Got a
book.
plate, Jacob.
It's a
Like,
manager.
got a
I
plate.
can't even lie.
He's missing. Where's he
I'm not-
gone?
Bro's got a
No,
bratwurst serving plate for a trophy, and we talk about
I
hyping
can't
it
even
up.
lie. Yeah, I can't even lie. Yeah, the guy is most successful manager, most successful than Kane. Yeah. Well, I don't. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, we just got to put it out
Legend.
there. Yeah,
There's more legendary.
Yeah,
legendary.
legendary.
He's more of a legend.
You know what?
Brennan Johnson is more of a
Hold
legend.
on,
than
Ash,
Kane.
let me-
He has
let me-
more European heritage, that's for sure. More European
He's got
final
more goals
goals
in finals. He's got more goals in finals.
and more goals in finals than Buhu Saka, lest we forget.
bro, the list of
And you know who did that? Ange Postecoglou did that. So you're welcome. What's that, Ange? He said you're welcome. Hey, hang on. He said you're welcome.
Like, the list of bigger legends than Kane is you got Ange, you got Son, you could argue Brennan Johnson.
Yeah,
I say every player. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're getting that. Like, listen, Kane left before our biggest moment. Yeah, he also tried to leave in 2021, innit? And like
in our lowest moments.
It was Son again in that game against City. You know, remember when we were there chanting, "Are you watching Harry Kane?" while he sat at home on strike while we were beating City. Yeah, with the
like he does whenever we advance in Europe as well.
Energy, like, no, bro. It's not even Ange's. Nah, it's not even close, bro. Like, Kane's
talking nice.
Jacob,
I'm talking real nice. I like this.
Jacob. So you know how they're not being biased now. Can you see how they're being honest?
I'm being honest and non-biased as well. I'm using facts, not feelings, and y'all don't like my facts. I'm sorry.
You are fake news. Alternative facts.
What?
I have the webpage. Is Transfer Market lying to me?
Maybe.
Now, let's have a more serious conversation on the side of expectations. I actually want to know what the expectation is for next season. I'm gonna bring it to you first, E. Because like you said, there is a bit of an unfair expectation from people like Jacob, who are rightly so. They're clinging onto the trophy, and they're going to say that he needs to match the achievement of that trophy. What's the expectation for I suppose Frank, in let's just say his first season, then onwards from his first season? What would you like to see from him?
Me or the fan base?
You.
Spurs are still in the same position as they were like when I first started supporting them. They haven't progressed nor regressed. So in order to progress or see progression, we need a top half finish and a trophy. So that's my expectation.
Fairs. And then box office. Let me bring that round to you. What's your expectation for him?
Top half, and give it a go in the cup competitions. Give it a go.
Love that. Just give it a go, guys.
I don't think
vibes.
I think unfortunately the Europa League has heightened people's expectations when we got lucky.
Yeah, heighten the standards.
Heighten the expectations. Now I'm hearing some ridiculous expectations from Spurs fans saying that we're going to be competing for the top 4 and whatever and whatnot. And I'm like, not being funny. That Europa League, we got massively lucky. Yes, I predict we're going to win it because we played Bodo Glimt, which we're always going to beat, and Man United. And I don't even think Man United were really that bothered. They were only doing it for the money, really. Let's be honest here. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's the second best competition, but I think it's disservice to that team that wins it goes into the Champions League because you're not playing any quality. You're not playing standard of Champions League, right? And you see PSG. Did you see PSG absolutely tear Inter Milan to shreds? And that's Inter Milan. Yeah. So, like, you know what I mean? And doing 2 games a week.
You reckon Levy watched that and thought, you know what? Let me not disgrace ourselves. Like,
listen, this ain't no Levy hurt because Levy's done the right thing. Let's just get this absolutely right. He's taken the motion out of the decision and got rid of Postecoglou, and now he's got in Thomas Frank, and that's been within a week, right? So let's not get on Daniel Levy right now. Daniel Levy's done marvelous job right now. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen. Did I hear one nibble of congratulations to Daniel Levy?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a damn thing.
No, the Daniel Levy revisionism, that is the abusive relationship. And he gave us one thing, and we're like, thank you, Daniel. You show me you're grateful.
Bro, he would have been well within his rights to sack Ange last season.
Exactly.
Well within his rights.
Exactly.
I'm surprised he didn't. I'm surprised that he hung on that long.
I give him props for that.
He kept the manager that got you Europa League.
No, thank you. I said thank you. Thank you. It was a beautiful parade as well, and he paid for it.
And now he sacked him when he should have sacked him in December, right? So let's not.
Well, if he did that, then we wouldn't have a Europa trophy because Ryan Mason ain't winning shit.
No.
I'll be real, bro. Winning that trophy is probably
I
the
just
most
want to
important
stick on the
thing
side
to
of
have.
expectations. We're not going to have time. I want to stick on
yeah.
Frank and expectations for the
My
upcoming season. Yeah,
by the
let's
way.
But
go on,
my expectations is top what is it, top half,
top half
and we give it a
Right.
couple competitions. That's
All
it.
right, cool.
Mine is I'm gonna be the same level of expectation that I would be for what Ange would have been coming in, because if I believe in the manager, it's like the first season that Ange came in, and people were like, "What's your expectation?" And I told box office, I said, "We'll finish top. I think we'll finish top 5," because I'm like, if what I think the manager wants to do works, it should click sufficiently for us to be there or thereabouts. Now the league is tough now, because you got the top 6, and then there's a couple of other teams. So let's just say it's a top 8, right? So I'm gonna say top 6, and I'm gonna say at least a semi-final in the cup. Yeah, that to me is my expectation for next season. Top 6 and at least a semi-final. I don't think we're the type of club that can say, I demand a trophy. I just want us to challenge heavily. Obviously try your hardest, but I think Frank should be able to elevate where we were last season. I don't see any reason why we should, in the domestic cups, we should be able to do what we did. We'll see how it goes out, but yeah, top 6 and a deep cup run.
Fairs. I think I can concur with that.
Love a deep cup run. Nothing like getting real
Nah,
deep
bun the
with your
deep cup
cup
runs,
run.
bro.
I'll
Bun a deep cup run.
before you
What's the
go,
point of
Jake,
going deep in a
I
cup if
know
you don't
exactly
win
what
it?
you're gonna say.
I
Well, I'm
want
gonna
to win.
bring
I just can't say
I
we're
can
gonna
switch
win
it up too. Hey, I keep it
we know
100.
exactly-
Come on.
All right, well, we could go there, but Ash, before we go,
Yeah,
to
man. Listen, I just feel like the cup has ruined, like as you guys said, the expectations of the club, of the fans,
People's
everyone's
perceptions, yeah.
perception of what really happens. The teams we faced in that run as well, compared to the teams we're going to face again in the Champions League, is completely different. It's a completely different stratosphere, in my opinion. Even the level of opposition in the Premier League, when you're in the cups, is completely different to your Bodo Glints, your Ferabosch. I can't even pronounce half the names that were in that Europa Cup. So I'm not expecting an amazing cup run in the first season and having a high league position. It's either one or the other. And I personally don't know the state of the squad. I don't know if Romero's going to leave. I don't know if we're going to have to sell Bentancur at some point. I don't know what players we're getting in. And that's why I'm saying Levy, for me, is not off the hook, because if he buys a one signing and everyone's getting excited and then he does dross signings for the rest of them, that could shape whether it was Ange being the manager or Frank's the manager or Xavi or Simone Inzaghi. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I'm saying? Those transfer windows are important, and I think of the last few windows we've had, I think the windows have been a mess. I'll be honest with you, and that will ultimately dictate where we finish in the season. So it doesn't matter if you've got a super adaptable manager. Guess what? You could adapt too much, get found out. Now what? Do you understand? So I'm gonna say 8th, bro. I'm gonna say 8th.
oh,
If we don't get your, we're gonna
Even
get
if
your.
they are in the mud, I don't listen. I just personally think, coming from where we are, like from 17th, 17th we finished. 17th is basically bottom. If you take the bottom 3 out, we finish bottom out of all the teams that were left.
I make you right. I think you're absolutely spot on. I think that's why I'm saying top half, because I think
I can't even lie. This is where, like, I'm sorry.
It's not what I want, Gordon. It's not what I want. Listen, I want top 4, bro. I want top 4. But realistically, bro, we have to smell. Bro,
I get you guys are trying to be realistic.
Wait, hold on.
You guys are being
Wait, hold on. You're against Man City. Have you seen Man City's midfield? What they're bringing in? You seen they just signed Church? Have you seen them, man? Them man are patterning up. You see Liverpool.
That's cool.
Liverpool doing their thing. Yeah, I'm saying you got to compete against Arsenal, Chelsea. No, man. But listen, what are we doing here, man? Come on, man. Even Newcastle.
What you're saying is
wrong. Up against Newcastle. Look at Newcastle midfield. I'm looking at all their midfields, and I'm like, I'm midfield.
Like this, though, if we're bringing in Thomas Frank, I'm not gonna lie. He has to, for one, qualify for European football, bare minimum. Me, as a Tottenham fan, all my life as a Spurs fan, the bare minimum for me has always been 6th place. I'll be real. Anything below 6th, that's just not good enough.
Yeah, but we
If
don't
Tottenham have
straight
finished in the
up
top
from
6 in the,
20.
I know, but the 17th place, we all know we wasn't the 17th worst team in the league. Was whether we want to, we can go off of the full season, but we know our team wasn't at that level. Now, if a new manager coming in, we've said that this guy's a better coach. If he's gonna coach the players that are there currently to be better, then we'd expect these players across a full Premier League season to at least finish in the top 10 with just this team. Now, we've got a transfer window coming up. I expect going into this transfer window that we're gonna make good signings. Well, I can only hope, but we're gonna make. We can only hope, but we're gonna make some smart acquisitions that are gonna make our team better going into the Champions League. So not that we can only compete there, but we can compete in the Prem level. So I would expect top 6 at a bare minimum. If you can't get that, then I'd agree with Jacob and say he's not good enough. If you can't get,
I hear it, but the environment here is it's different, though. I'll be real. It's not the same. Like our environment right now, it's so hard for managers. I want us to finish top 4. That's what I want. Yeah. I want us to be top 6. I want us to be Europe. But from how I see things, like I feel like we're either gonna get either an Eze or a Semenyo. We're not gonna get.
Yeah, both. I get what you mean. We're not gonna get both, and that's the problem. Yeah.
But for the level I need my club to be.
But Ash, a big club gets both.
That's what I'm saying. Well, we don't behave like a big club, though.
Yeah, because we got one foot in the pool and one's pissing on our leg. I know.
I think this is why Tottenham standards haven't changed since we won the trophy.
My standards have, though, because Ange raised them. That's my point.
I can't. No,
yes, he has. How can you tell me what my standard is?
Just before you go, I want to get Jacob. Obviously, I want Jacob to say his expectations because, like he said. And I don't blame you because Jacob right now is being, he's being that girl that says, don't introduce me to a vibe you can't maintain. I just introduced him to a vibe.
Yeah. Don't be flying me out to Abu Dhabi, bitch, if we ain't going there somewhere better on the honeymoon, Yeah.
Tell us your expectations, Jacob. What are your expectations for Frank?
My expectations are return to relevancy without any glory. That's as blanket of a statement as I could make. I have no genuine hope that we're going to lift silverware anytime soon because, again, I feel like we're taking 11-year step backwards by hiring Thomas Frank. I'm not saying that the future is Ange. Like, people can't, like, they in the chat, they get so uptight and think it's all about Ange. It's not. But it is the last reference point of a manager I have. It is the most successful manager of a reference point that I have. So whenever I compare the next girl to my ex-girl, she got to be better. I got to improve. Why am I going to downgrade from a beautiful woman to a hoe? Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to always continually be better. I want to hold my club to a higher standard because Ange showed us what that standard could be like, winning fucking silverware. And it's, to me, it's the most silly metaphor I could come up with. I'm like a vampire who tasted blood for the first time. Why the fuck am I going to go back to eating beef? I'm trying to drink blood now. I have blood in my life. I'm Blade out here. I'm a vampire hunter. I'm out here. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, it's so this or that. I'm holding the fucking energy that was kept for Ange. He ain't done shit. He ain't managed here. He ain't done this and yada, yada, yada. And I say the same thing about Trash Can Trailer Park Tommy and everybody little booty get hurt. And I understand. Kids get their booty smacked and they go cry about it, but it's time to grow up. Put your big boy pants on. We're fucking champions. Act like one.
Just to clarify it.
Just like the big club we all want, right? Like Ash said, like Jordan said, I agree. I would love it if we acted like a big club. You sack a manager because you didn't like one out of the 4 competitions. Fine, sack him. But now go keep that same energy. Act like a big club. Sign Eze, sign Mbeumo and Semenyo. I don't think Mbeumo's going to happen, but all of that is just to say that you can't. Tottenham have always done this. You hire Jose Mourinho. That's something a big club does. You sack Poch, you finally break that umbilical cord, and we still got babies crying about the umbilical cord that got cut fucking that long ago. Oh, give me Poch. Poch. He sucks. He's a clown. He's a traitor. He's a treasonous bastard. And people are still twerking for him. But that's because he made him feel some type of way. But I can't reference a trophy that Poch has never lifted in his life at any club, even the bigger clubs he managed after us. But they could shake their bums for that. No, let's keep the same energy. What is his resume? Where did he manage? Do I need to throw racial slurs around like some people do about Australians? Do I need to that's my point.
Just to land this, yeah, because obviously you
No,
You
ain't no
didn't
landing. We are
say-
we flying over the
actually
ocean right now. Ain't no
say-
landing.
Yeah, I know we're flying high up, but I'm trying to land this plane in the middle of the
It's
ocean.
crash landing if it's landing at all.
What would make all right? Then let's just say what would make you content with Frank next season? What place to finish? What would you like to see in the cups? Because that's what essentially what I'm trying to get out of you. I want to know what would make you be like, all right, Frank, I can accept what you're doing. I can, I can see your game.
He's got that chance in the very first game he manages, the Super Cup.
Spurs.
There you are. That's what hey, you can't say I didn't back the manager. Win it. And I will get his face tattooed on my naked arm. I have an arm that I saved for all the glory Tottenham was supposed to drape me in, and so far I've only got what Ange has given me. All right, but if Tommy bring me some, you're getting immortalized as well, buddy. And I'll love you forever. I'll call him Tommy Gun, my little Tom Tom. What'd you say? I missed it.
I said vampire sort of blood. It was some blood from an AIDS victim, bro. I can't lie. She gave you some tainted
I said, Ange, give you his right hand.
Yeah, trust back him, man. He'll be good, man. He'll be good. Like first game versus
good, but is it enough? Like Poch was good, but it wasn't enough.
Bro, we got something for PSG. Don't worry about that. We got something for PSG.
That's what I'm saying. I will jump on the motherfucking train, but I ain't getting on it when I think it's headed for certain destruction. It's the train to Busan, that zombie flick. I ain't getting on that train.
Just on the sign before we wrap up on transfers, because obviously a few people have mentioned transfers. Some of the players were linked with Semenyo, Grealish. We've seen. I'm trying to think of all the players. There's been so many on the. I think forget the players in particular. What players would you guys like to see Spurs sign with Thomas Frank as manager? Eze,
Semenyo. Those would be two players I'll take up top.
My thing is we've been so under the radar with transfers. I don't see why that suddenly would have changed. I think
that's true.
Journalists
I agree.
Have some information on certain targets we might have inquired about, but I still think, like last year, the players that we're going to sign, we don't know yet. Like I don't think the names are out there at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Just like last year. And I think because the Thomas Frank deal's been played out a little bit in the press, some of these journalists that last year we would not have given any credit or credence to, we've listened to a little bit more here. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm not sure what Frank needs, because if I look at the basic team, and I say, right, Vicario, Romero, Van de Ven, Porro, Udogi, let's say Bergval, Bentancur, Madison, let's say Teloson, Johnson, Solanke, and I just say, just with basic coaching, that same team with no additions, like how good is that team? Do you see what I mean? I don't know how good.
I think you'll play players in the right position. I think that's the thing, because you can see it. You can see it when he's talking to his coaches, and I think the best thing what Tottenham have done right now is brought his coaching staff. You know what I mean?
But think about it like this, we know that team, when fit, even under Ange, is capable of like 70+% win ratio.
Yeah.
We know
they can.
I don't want to hear this when fit stuff, because when fit is how many?
No, but not necessarily.
No, because we have to be honest, Jay. Like we have to and take away Ange. Forget about Ange. The problem with Tottenham's medical has been multiple seasons due to our medical department. Take away the football side of things, so we're continuously gonna have problems with injuries. Like that's just gonna be a continuous thing, whether it's with Ange, Frank, or any other manager.
Okay, but what I'm basically trying to say is that, like, if you look at some of the ways that we conceded goals and things that happened last season, first of all, you've got the fact there's a lot of games we only lost by 1 goal. Then you've got like the way we build up. So if we leave an extra man back, if we build up in a slightly different way, you're going to get different results in terms of when we're getting countered, things like that. Look at the marginal games, throw-ins, set pieces, stuff that we've not done. So I'm basically just saying the floor of the actual team, we know the team is capable, under Ange even, of achieving a 70% win ratio when fit. That's before you bring in any of the out of possession stuff or the marginal gain stuff. Yeah, so I'm just saying even with the players we've got, I expect a big upturn in performance because I expect the team to be platformed better. And I know that the team, when fit, is capable of good performances. And if we are saying we threw the league away from whatever date we say, I expect the performances in the league to go back to some degree of normality, right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at that, and I'm saying, looking the players to bring in. I don't know what Frank needs because I don't know how he's setting up properly yet. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know where the gaps are in the squad, but I think we need a 6 regardless. You know, like a top quality, you know, technically strong midfielder. We need a talisman as well. We need, like, if it's Eze, if it's Mbuemo, we need somebody who can give the team like 20, 25 GA in the league and add, you know, value to the team. We lack talents. That's why we're down in 17th, because our needle movers aren't moving.
We don't have no Mavericks, man. We don't have
That's
no
it.
Mavericks.
But we have no Mavericks in the team. We have no one who's grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck and, like, you know, just delivering for the team. We need a Maverick. We need.
Good thing my gaffer was a Maverick.
So,
Ex-gaffer. Sorry, I'm still getting used to it.
And just last thing, does anyone think Frank has gonna elevate? I know you already mentioned Brennan Johnson in particular, Ash, but any other players that people think Frank can really elevate within this current squad? Let's just say, I don't know if you think the fullbacks on that side of things, or any other players in the team you think that he can really elevate, work on, and coach them to be different types of players. Obviously, I know that's a no from you, Jacob. You don't rate anything Frank does, so that's an obvious one.
No, he's really good at making sure the boat completely sink.
I think with Pedro Porro, he's going to be utilized slightly differently. When Frank wants to go to a back three, and they want to be slightly more direct, because with Brentford, I think they were like the 4th or 5th highest team in terms of long balls. So they played typically like direct. So I think Porro will be utilized as a right-sided fullback, but he'll be able to switch the play really quickly or go over the top and find the forward players in the channels really quickly. So and maybe he'll be overlapping less, because Lewis Potter was on the left-hand side for Brentford. He was the left back, and he often overlapped or underlapped as a fullback, and so he was more moving up and down. So I can see the doggy maybe benefiting from that, because that suits his profile a lot more, where he kind of gets up and down. And so that dynamic where you see Porro dropping a little bit deeper and then he's less exposed defensively, that may work and benefit him. And a doggy doing what he does, going out wide, he's going to open up a channel for whoever is our left-sided attacker, because he likes to play the attackers a lot closer into the box, and the attackers play a lot more central, and they make more runs in behind. So maybe having a doggy, maybe he improves the doggy slightly, and you see a bit more out of him, you know, you see less up and down performance from him.
I'm really looking forward to his work with the younger players, the likes of Archie Gray, the Lucas Bergvals.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I really think that he.
It's all going to be their natural progression as young players.
They will.
I was going to say that too.
It's all going to be their natural progression.
Going to progress. You are right, but I think a player like Archie Gray will actually be played in his position in the 6, and I think because he was actually wanted by Brentford, they were the other team putting in the 40-45 million pound. I think we're going to see.
Let's see if we get an injury and he gets moved around. I don't want to hear no one. Or everyone better be upset. That's what they better be doing. Actually.
I always call him mid.
Change the name for this stream to Ange Defense League, Jacob.
It's not Ange Defense League, it's a Tottenham Defense League, and Ange was a part of that defense.
ADL, Jacob's the leader of the ADL.
That's like saying I'm Team Davy Crockett. I'm Team America, bro. Davy Crockett was a component of us becoming America. Davy Crockett is a guy who helped us win the war to make us America in the first place. So that's like me saying I'm just because I appreciate what he done. He did die, by the way, fighting in the war. So it's like, so did Ange. He's my Davy Crockett. I'm still a U.S. citizen. I'm not an Ange citizen. I'm not a Crockett citizen. You know, people get it all twisted up. It's all out of love for Tottenham because Ange showed me the best day out couple times.
He was about to
talking
say
about Abu
syndrome,
Dhabi.
yeah.
I heard it.
It was the best day out, yeah.
In the winter, come on.
From the start of the stream to the end of the stream, he's finally realized that my example is actually true, and it took to the end of the stream, but I get it. Man, don't
I
want to
said
give
we
me my
going to
props.
Abu
I
Dhabi.
see it as a reoccurring thing on this Spurs YouTube thing, but people don't give me my props in it. It's mine. I'll take my flowers at the end of the day.
Big up. I look on
Nothing
that.
like
This
telling
has
people to
been,
give you your flowers to get those flowers, right?
You can rest them on my coffin once I'm dead, fam. I'm gonna get them regardless, bro.
This has been a very, very enjoyable stream with the guys. A boardroom talks that's been much needed. I think we haven't done one for a month or so. I can't tell you when the next one's going to be. As you guys know, it's very spontaneous, but when they do come, they are some of the best shows. So make sure you are here next time. Make sure you are showing support to everyone's channels in the description. So if you want to go into the description real quick, tap on everyone's channel, make sure you're subscribed to all the people here. We are going to send you over to Jacob, who's going live straight after this to talk and divulge a bit more into Tommy the Trash Can, Tommy Trailer stuff.
No, I'm just saying happy Trash Can Tommy Day. We're celebrating, right? We're back to being Spursy. I love it. You know, you fight something for so long and then you just end up right back there. Or it's like that you know that video of that goat or it's a deer or something, and it's like stuck in a ravine, and the guy gets it out, and then he goes broop, broop, right back into Ange pulled us out, and now we're like, bye. We're going right back in. Come on.
Yeah,
love it. I love it.
It's
It's comfortable in here. It's comfortable.
If you guys could just smash a like on your way out, it'll be much appreciated. Has anyone got anything they want to say before we do end? Apart from Tommy trash stuff from Jacob.
Yeah, he's got his own show, innit? Guys, make sure you guys are voting. Obviously, we've got the Spurs YouTube Content Creator Awards coming up on Spurs Kings TV. That will be in July, so make sure you guys look out for that, man, and get voting as well, man. If you want to find that form, it's on X, Spurs Kings TV. So yeah, make sure you guys get voting, man. Vote for these lovely guys, man.
Yeah, man. Get to voting, people. Make sure you get on it. And yeah.
And please, can you continue doing that show with Elijah? This not serious news thing. Yeah. I want to see another. I need to see it. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have another one this week. No doubt about that.
Yeah, one to be out.
Elijah, I want to see more content from you, bro.
I'm streaming every day, man. I'm live every night, man.
I want to see it more. Yeah.
I got you. I'm live every night, man.
That's me encouraging you, so don't get used to it, brother. You know what I mean?
I won't. It goes without saying, man. It goes without saying.
No, but look, people, make sure you show support on everyone's channels. Make sure you go to Spurs Kings TV on Twitter and support your fellow Spurs creators. You can vote for who you think's the best newcomers and all these things. Make sure you go and share that. And yeah, man, until next time, this has been a good Ballroom Talks, and we will be back soon. Peace.